Hello everyone, welcome to mentorbuddy.com. This is your mentor Gurvansh, and now we are going to look into the data structures of tuple and string. So guys, when we talk about the tuple data structure, so a tuple in Python programming language is known as the immutable data structure. Is an immutable data structure. Means once created, you cannot alter an already created tuple. So a tuple is represented using the parenthesis brackets, using the parenthesis or small brackets. Okay, now what is the purpose of tuple, right? Why do we need tuple, and where do we exactly need tuple? So one reason is that why we need tuple. The first reason is tuple are faster to work with. The reason is that once a tuple is created, the memory allocated is fixed. No new memory allocation is allowed. So that processing part is removed, because of which the processing speeds increases. Second is where we need it, in the places where you have to keep constant values. Okay, values. Let's say you want IDs or something, that a counter or something, wherever the list should be constant, it should not change. At that positions we need a tuple. Let's say you are creating a data table using Python. Now in this particular data table you can use tuple as the IDs. So once created, IDs will be fixed. ID section will not change. If the values are increasing the ID, you can do certain work. So in that particular cases you can use the tuple. So they are immutable, they are represented by parenthesis or small bracket. They are faster to work with, and they are used to keep the constant values. Now how do I create it? So you can write tuple. Yes. So you can write tuple is equal to small bracket, and again you can give any values. You can give 12, 45, 67, 87, or you can give sky also, or you can give blue also. So it also collects the same data in the same way as list collects. Multiple data at the same time can be given, but the only thing is that once created it will not be altered. So you can write print tpl1. If you run this, tuple is created. Now it is done, it is fixed. There is a variable named tpl1 which is containing these many values, and you can apply certain functions on it. As usual, I have told you, you can apply max function, you can apply min function, you can apply sum function, you can apply length function. Why? Because these functions are not altering the tuple, they are just getting a solution from the tuple. Okay, now there might be a question, sir, what if let's say by chance I gave a wrong value. Let's say I wanted to give something else and I gave sky. Let's say instead of blue I wanted to give red, but by mistake I wrote blue. What then? How do I change my tuple? Now to change a tuple, we have to first convert it into a list, change it, and then convert it back to the tuple. So how do I do that? So to change my tuple back to a list, in a list I will write, let's say I'm taking the same variable. Okay, tuple. Okay, first of all let me show you the type of tpl1. So tpl1 print type of tpl1. Then I will change it to a tuple. tpl1 is equal to list tpl1 then I'm again going to show you the print type of TPL1. So what will happen? First of all, first print will go, then the second print will go. Now first class is tuple, in the starting it is tuple, now it is list. So when I print TPL1, now print TPL1, it is coming as a list. You can see the difference. For a tuple we have parentheses or small bracket, for a list we have square brackets. Right now if I want to alter anything, I can simply alter it. So here I can write TP1 TPL1 dot pop, then I can write TP1 dot append red. Let's print our TPL1. So here when I run it, so blue is gone, red is there. Now we can convert it back to our tuple. So I'll write TPL1 is equal to tuple TPL1. Let's print our TPL1, print TPL1, and then let's print the type of TPL1. So here it is converted back into a tuple. So this is how we generally work. So whenever we get a tuple, if we want to perform any operation on the tuple, we first convert it into a list, work on it, and then convert it back to the tuple. Basic functions, general functions like max, min, sum will work without changing it into a list. Now let's talk about the string data structure. Oh yeah, before we move on, let me just say it out loud that the slicing will work. Again, the slicing is not changing the original data structure. Slicing does not change the original data structure. It is just extracting the values. We are just taking out the values, or you can say that we are generally creating a copy of the values at those index numbers. So we can use slicing on our tuples also. Now moving on to our string data structures. So the string data structure, as some of you might, or as you might know, that for a string data structure is a collection of characters, right? So here I'm going to write str1 is equal to, now keep this in mind guys, you cannot put str because str is a keyword in Python which means string data type. Here str1 is equal to, let's say I'm creating a random string with all the characters, okay, a b c d e f g h I j k l m n o p q r s t u v w x y z. Okay, now this is the string we have. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to just add few things in this starting. Okay, so here I'm going to add at the rate space and hash I am adding over here, and here I am adding the starting, I am adding space hash at the rate. So I am just adding these values to show you the different functions of a string. So here just simply if you will print str1, it will just normally show you that this is the string which you have. Now for string manipulation, the first thing is slicing works. Slicing also works in the string data structure. String data structures. Now other than this, let's talk about the functions manipulating the string. Okay, string manipulation, or the functions which we can use for the string manipulation. String manipulation functions. So here we have obviously lower, we have upper, we have is lower, we have is upper, we have strip, we have split, we have join, so we have lower, upper, is lower, is upper. Yep, we can work with strip, split, join. Then we can work with capitalize. Yep, we have count. Count is for both. We have find. So just like index, we have find in this particular is for the string, and for the string we also have the index. So index is almost the same thing. We also have replace. So replace is a necessary function. Replace. Okay, so I think these functions are more than important. There are n number of functions. We are going to focus on the major ones. So here let's get to know the theory of these functions. So the theory of these functions is lower function will convert the complete string into lowercase, will convert the input string in lowercase, converts input string in uppercase, is lower, checks whether the input string is lower case or not. Check whether the input string is uppercase or not. Uppercase or not. Strip removes the input set of characters from the starting and the end of the input string, end of the input string. What does split do? Breaks the input string and store it as a list. Join joins the list of characters or words back into a string with the mention delimiter. So I know that these statements might be a bit confusing at first, but I will show you. Okay. Capitalizes the first character. Okay, so capitalize converts the first character to uppercase. Converts the first character to uppercase. Then we have count. Obviously it does the same thing. It counts how many times a character has appeared in the input string. Counts the number of time a, a character has occurred in the string. Then we have finds the input string and returns the starting index. Then we have replaces the new string with the old string. Okay, Okay, replaces the old string with the new string, sorry. Now let's get started. So I'm just going to print my str1. str1 was the variable which I created. So this is the variable which I created. First of all, I am going to start by the strip function, then I will work with is lower, is upper, then we will work with capitalize. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the functions in a way that all of this makes some sense. Okay, so here I'm going to first of all apply str1 dot strip. Okay, str1 dot strip. Now in this strip function we give the input characters which we want to be stripped, which we want to be removed from our input string. Now if you see, if you remember, I told you that I am adding the values hash space and at the rate at the starting and the end of the original string to remove it, right? So here I'm going to write strip str.strip. Strip what? Remove my space, remove hash, remove at the rate. So these things are what I'm trying to strip from my input string. Now you can mention this hash at the rate in any format you want. So yeah, as I was saying, there is no particular sequence for mentioning these characters. You can mention these characters with any sequence you have. So here we can just simply print our str1. So str1, when you run this, your character should be removed, and I forgot to save it. Yeah, yeah. So we need to save it. str1 is equal to this. Okay. Now when you do this, your characters are removed. Right? See, the characters are removed. I forgot to save it. Yeah. Now strip is done. We are going to check for is lower and is upper. So this particular is lower and is upper just give you the answer in boolean that whether the input string is in uppercase or lowercase. So we do not actually save it, we can directly just normally print it. So we can write print str1 dot is lower. When you run it, you get false. And when you write the same thing, print str1 dot upper is upper. Now guys, when you write this is, it says is alphanumeric, is alpha, is ASCII, is decimal. So you can apply these many functions. So as I've told you, there are n number of functions in string. You can just looking for the more used ones. So we have is upper, close it, it will give you false. Why? Because our input string is a collection of different um, inputs. Here let's now convert it into lowercase or uppercase. Now when you want to convert a string into lowercase or uppercase, you write the lower function, you use the lower function or the upper function. Here again you need to store it in a variable. You can use the same variable or you can use some other variable also to store the new string. Here I am using the same variable so that the number of variables are less. So here when you write upper, it will be converted into uppercase. So now you will print str1, it is converted into uppercase. Now let's okay, upper, lower, is upper, strip is done. So we have split, join, capitalize, count, find, replace. So I'll work first with capitalize, count, find, then replace, then I will show you split and join in the end. So here we are going to write str1 is equal to str1 dot capitalize, then we will simply print it, print str1. So when I print it now, See, only A is capital, rest of the values are lowercase. Here let's work with count and let's work with find. So let's say I am counting for A now. So I will write print str1 dot count for A. When you count for A, it is 0. The reason is we are looking for small a, but in our string we have capital A, and if you know the ASCII nomenclature, you will know that capital A has a different value than the small a. Capital A and small a are completely two different characters in the string data type. So we have over here, if I write print str1 dot count and then count for capital A, you will get 1 as the answer. Let's work with find. So you'll write print str1 dot find for BCD. So you can give a string also. Okay, you can give a string as an input for find, and you will get the starting index of the whole string, the substring. Okay, so this is how the count and find work. So now I will show you the replace function. So I will apply it multiple times and show it to you multiple times. Okay, so what we do in the replace, we use the replace function and give what are we replacing and with what are we replacing. So in the replace function you have to give two inputs now. Okay, so what you are replacing with what you are replacing. So you say str1 is equal to str1 dot replace what? Replace let's see, replace fgh. Okay, replace fgh comma with a space. Okay, let me print our str1 and let me copy it. So when you run this, see fgh, the whole three characters fgh are being replaced with space. I will do it one or two more times just to create some spaces to show you the split function. So here I'm going to write replace MNO with space. Then I will write replace UVW with a space. So here now what I'm trying to do over here is I'm just trying to create different words. So now I will split my this input string and store it as a list using the split function. So here I'm going to write, for this time, for again I'm going to write str1 itself, just the same variable, is equal to str1 dot split my string with what kind of delimiter you are trying to replace. So here I am using space to replace. You can use at the rate, comma, colon, semicolon, single inverted comma, double inverted comma, dollar, percentage, any kind of delimiter you have in your data. You can use the split function to split your string from that particular delimiter. So when I print my str1 now, it is stored as a list now. It is converted into a list now. So if I print the type of print typ type of str1, it is a list now. Till now it was a string. So this is what the split function does. Split function breaks off your string and saves it as a list. Now how to convert it back into a string? We use the join function. So this time we write, so join function is a bit tricky. You start by giving the delimiter that you want to join this input with a delimiter. You start by giving a delimiter. You write join what? Join str1 and save in what? Save in str1 itself, str1. So this time what you give here, you first give the delimiter, then write the join function, and then give the input string which you have, the string which you are trying to join. Okay, just the opposite of split. So you write print str1. So when you run now, see, with the join function it has again converted back into a string. So these are few of the most well-known functions or most usable functions in string. So I hope that you understood how to apply a function on a string and how to manipulate the string. Thank you guys for joining us on Mentor Buddy. Bye bye, take care.